Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse. Today, Wednesday, December 4th, 2024. Actually, we're on our way to the state court, but let's start federally. Trump yesterday, to the state court, Juan Merchan in specific, made a full motion to dismiss the entire case after conviction, prior to sentencing. It's a long one. We've written about it. You can find it on Inner City Press. And we've been covering the Daniel Penny trial. And now it's in jury deliberations, which in a way I'm tempted to go to SDNY and cover cases and wait to hear about that. But I'm heading over there. I feel like this was a day where normally the jury has taken off during the trial, but they asked to come in. So we'll have to see. There was a single note that we were first to report yesterday after the closings that we live tweeted. In other news, Eric Adams seems to have, I don't know if he changed his position. His position now is that it's reflective of a social problem and that Daniel Penny was protecting. So it's interesting. His evolution continues. On the Diddy docket, we said yesterday that Matthew C. Smith of Abercrombie might be released. He was released in EDNY, $10 million bail, but it was at the agreement of the prosecutors, who admittedly are from a different district, EDNY. But I'm sure that Sean Combs is going to be citing that and saying, hey, bro, what's the difference? Because when he said that Jeffries had been released of Abercrombie, they said, well, Smith is detained, but Smith is now out. In other bail news yesterday, after the closing arguments in Penny, in the Mad Court, with no other media present, we witnessed the arraignment and release of one Joanna Smith Griffin. She's a AI entrepreneur, now alleged fraudster. She had an AI firm that said it had contracts with the New York City school system, also the LA school system. Apparently took the money, splurged it on a huge wedding in Miami. Guns in the house. It's not guns. Her new there's guns in her house in North Carolina, but federal defenders say that that's going to be fine. So we covered that as well as the guilty plea, somewhat surprising, of Mashinsky, one of the big cryptos. Celsius, he's been fighting it. He has Mark Mukasey. He's been fighting the case, and suddenly, on very little notice, and with nothing in the docket to indicate what the hearing was about, yesterday he pled guilty to a guideline of 360 months, 30 years. Very strange. Usually, when you plead guilty, you're getting less than the 30 years that the two counts contain, but there must be something there that we're missing, and we're going to continue to cover it without fail. We also cover the United Nations, where yesterday there was big news where in Seoul, soldiers in the parliament, martial law. Now I checked, Ban Ki-moon, the previous Secretary General, was from South Korea. But he had absolutely nothing on it. He said nothing about it. In fact, he seems at this point to be traveling around getting awards from Mongolia and other countries. But he was still not as bad as Antonio Guterres, the current Secretary General, who also had nothing to say on this. But it made me think, what's the difference between the two? Now, we reported while inside the United Nations on Ban Ki-moon's corruption by his brother, some mining in Myanmar, stuff like that. There was also a nephew that made some money off real estate near the UN. But these were relatives. Antonio Guterres, it's personal. He did not disclose his financial link to the China Energy Fund Committee through the Gulbenkian Foundation. And when we raised it, we were beaten up and thrown out. Now, Ban Ki-moon had us restricted in the UN, but he never thought you could have a media roughed up and thrown out and then just thumb your nose. But the other difference was, yes, Ban Ki-moon was silent on abuses by China, but Antonio Guterres is a global suck-up and sleazeball. So this is something that must be fixed. A litmus test is coming, and we're going to be reporting that on the UN front as well. But for now, in the early morning cold, we're heading to the Daniel Penny jury deliberation, and maybe some Andrew Cuomo material in the afternoon. We'll just have to see how it goes in state court. Inner City Press, to be continued.